Welcome to the Saturday Sports Line. Since 1969, the premier sports show about local high school sports, featuring coaches, players, and special guests. Now, here is your host of the Saturday Sports Line, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
On the other end of the floor, it's Jack Rogers spinning around at the free throw line. Back out to David Height for three. Splash. Big time shot for David Height. 13-10 now. The Cavs are on a run.
In your dreams, looking back, we seeing what we want to see. The way we used to be.
And a good Saturday morning to you here on the Saturday Sports Line, February 17th, 2024, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. This is your wake-up call. Good morning. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
It's a pretty nice wake-up call. I wouldn't mind waking up to the show, would you? I already do.
I'm telling you, I've told you since your first day here that Saturday mornings, this is almost like church to some people. And their Saturday mornings are mapped around the Saturday sports show. So yeah, it is a good wake up call.
It is, and we've got a lot of sports going on in our area. The goal today is, and I've talked to all of our area boys basketball coaches. We're going to have all 8 of them in this morning. So of all our area teams, if you're listening, stay tuned. You are going to hear your head coach this morning. Don't worry, the Saturday Sports Line for the last 58 years is taking care of you this Saturday morning. Well, we look around the West Central Trojans. They have a wrestler heading to state finals. It's Hayden Fritz. Of course, we know Hayden is one of our Tyler Roth WKVI Athletes of the Week this year. We wish Hayden Fritz good luck at the state finals today. Man, what an accomplishment there.
Exactly. Huge accomplishment, and wish him the best of luck.
Switching over to swimming, the Knox Redskins, the 200 relay, the 200-meter relay advanced, the 200 freestyle relay advanced, and Cody Beaver advanced in 15th position for the 100 backstroke for sectionals today. So, good job to the Redskins swimmers. Of course, we talked to their head coach not too long ago. And then switching over to North Judson-San Pierre, shout out to Evan Curley for his performance at the swimming sectional. Evan is moving on to the finals in the 200 free and 500 freestyle. Let's also give a big round of applause to the medley relay and 200 free teams for their awesome efforts in advance to the finals as well. Keep up the great work and good luck to both of our area swim teams still in action today. But we switch over to basketball. We have the last week of boys basketball is coming up here. Man, this is crazy.
Well, yeah, I mean, winter sports, the basketball season is the longest of the year, but it seems like it goes by one of the fastest. So.
It really does. Well, it's not over yet. There's still several games to go here. 2 for some teams, 3 or 4 more for others. We see the West Central Trojans last night, a tough loss to North White. Close one, 45-44. It looks like it went down to the wire. We'll have a chance to talk with head coach Brad Odom in the second hour. The Winamac Warriors, they traveled to Royal Center last night to take on Pioneer. Big time win for them, 52-31. We have head coach Mike Springer locked in, ready to talk at the top of next hour, right after the Athlete of the Week interview. And then the Knox Redskins last night, tough loss. Man, was it a close one against Wheeler at home here at Harold Weinberg Gymnasium. 48-47 was the final.
Yeah, that one shocked me a little bit, but Byron Falstich, longtime assistant coach here at Knox, has taken over that Wheeler program and has them heading in the right direction. So pretty sure it was probably a nice little boost for him to come back to Knox or take on Knox and knock them off. So good job for the Wheeler Bearcats. But that score shocked me a little bit when I saw that this morning.
Well, you better believe the Redskins, they turn right around tonight. They're going to be ready to go. It is senior night as they are hosting the South Central Satellites. We will be at Harold Weinberg Gymnasium tonight, going live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, to see the Satellites take on the Redskins in senior night. I'd assume after last night's tough loss, the focus, energy, intensity will be at an all-time high tonight.
Yeah, knowing Coach Eskridge, I think the boys better be ready.
We're also going to talk with head coach Matty Bush of the South Central Satellites. That's in the next hour. The North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays had a huge win over Argus at home in the Nest last night, 47-42. They take on Hebron in the Nest tonight. They're finishing off the season at home in the Nest. I'm sure they love doing that. As we'll talk to head coach Kent Chezem about last night's matchup and then their matchup tonight against Hebron here in a few moments. Well, this hour sometime. The Oregon-Davis Bobcats did not play last night, but they play tonight on the road against Lakeland Christian. 6 p.m. Central is the scheduled tip-off time. We'll have a chance to talk with head coach Larry Sennert in this hour. At the bottom of this hour, actually, the Tri-Township Tigers' tough loss to DeMont Christian last night, 69-49. It's just been a tough year for the Tigers, but they turn around and play one of our other area teams in the Culver Cavaliers. And that's who we have in the studio with us right now, head coach Kyle Evans. Coach, we saw you the other night against South Central, and that game just never disappoints. Tough loss for you guys, 67-61, but the fight was there. You turn right around and take on the Tigers, who are also struggling. They're going to be hungry. What are you preparing for tonight, or do you want to talk about the other night first?
It's been a long week as far as what we've dealt with non-basketball wise. Just kind of some guys banged up and not moving real well right now, and sickness has been just absolutely destroying our team right now, and coaching staff even. Not me, thankfully, knock on wood, but we've been but yeah, we've it's been a rough week. Things we can't control right now. But from a basketball standpoint, we had a good competitive week. Obviously, a couple of close losses, both on the road at North Judson, at South Central. And, again, both games we had guys battling through illness. Go back to Tuesday against North Judson. I thought we had one of our better offensive games from the standpoint of sharing the basketball, moving the basketball, getting good looks, taking care of the basketball, not turning it over. One of the guys that has been battling serious illness was Jack Rogers, and he had a big game against North Judson and had 28 in that game and really just carried us through stretches. He's one of those guys that he has to do so much for us that it really takes a toll on your body, especially when you're battling illness. And that kind of showed in the second game of the week here against South Central, where he struggled a little bit shooting the ball from the floor, but still had a really solid game. From a defensive standpoint, we still need a little bit more consistency, execution-wise, not effort-wise, but execution-wise. And where we thought we did a good job against North Judson, containing their big three, as we called them, in McDaniel, Benson, and Bales. Actually, we did an outstanding job. We held those guys to a combined around like 21, 22 points. But then Wilcox just absolutely manhandled us in the paint. And, his athleticism and strength and just prowess for the offensive boards just absolutely killed us, and we didn't have an answer for that. So, just some consistency things we're battling. It was the same thing during the South Central game. Wasn't an effort issue, but we just had some lapses execution wise. And I told our guys after the game, it's really hard to beat teams when you're putting them to the line 35 times and you're giving up 28 points from the foul line. And then you look at our score and you're like, they scored 28 points from the foul line. They shot 35 free throws, and it was a 2-possession game.
Yeah.
What in the world?
You were right there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I was watching a game last night. I think it was Toledo in Ohio, and they had like shirts that said GWOF. And that's all said on their shirt, GWOF. And I'm like, that's got to be our shirt next year, because it was an acronym for Guard Without Fouling. Ooh. That was legitimately their team shirts. And I was like, man, that's us. Like, we need that shirt so they can look at it every day and go, Guard Without Fouling. Because we had, it was funny going back to the scorebook. I was like, well, we have 8 guys. 7 of them had 4 fouls or fouled out.
Yep.
So it was like, it was one of those things where there were stretches there during the game where they weren't scoring in the half court, and they couldn't score in the half court, and then we foul them and they'd make from the free throw line. So, again, consistency battles on the defensive end, but efforts there. We're competing. Lots of close losses lately. A lot of these games, maybe we're either the underdog or they're 50-50 games that we're just not quite pulling out, but we're there. And there's some good and some bad to work on. at least they aren't a bunch of blowout losses right now, and we're just kind of hiding under a rug. We're competing, and we're still working to be competitive here in a couple weeks.
Oh, one thing that go ahead.
I was going to say last week you were talking about your concern was the struggling of scoring the basketball. The last 2 games you're averaging 55 points. So you're starting to come out of that little funk.
We shot the ball better the last couple games. Still under our scoring average for the year against North Judson, but they do a good job of really defending. 18 feet and in the drive, rebound the basketball well. It's percentage-wise against South Central, not so much. Didn't shoot the ball real well, but we scored around the rim pretty well, which you would prefer as a coach, anyways, be getting to the rim and scoring. We shot a good percentage from the free throw line finally, but yeah, we shot the ball well against North Judson, scored at the rim well against South Central. So hopefully, we can build on those things. Combine those two would be nice.
Well, you're a math guy. If
I am,
yeah,
sure.
If both teams are going to shoot around 35-40%, well, then you just need to get up 20 more shots than your opponent, and you're going to beat them by 20. Go. So that's the simple math.
30. Hey, I would. First of all, thank you for saying I'm a math guy. I appreciate that. Second of all, we would love a 35 to 40% because we were about 20% from 3 against South Central. So give us that 35% all day, and I think we'll be real successful. It's when you talk about getting more shots off, that's one of the things also that we put a little bit more of an emphasis on it going against South Central. We got to get more shots up because even against North Judson, it's like we were passing up shots. First half of the game, we were flying around, getting good shots up. The second half, we kind of tightened up and weren't getting enough shots up. So if the math is right,
yeah, well, it's
more shots is better.
It's the Terry Minix. It's the Terry Minix philosophy. If Terry's listening right now, hey, we're both going to shoot 35%, but we're going to get 30 more shots than you are a game. So
we got offensive rebound and turnover.
There you go.
Speaking of our sports analyst Terry Minix, we were talking in the post game. Really, even though it was a tough loss for you guys spread out the points pretty well. Jack had his average of 21 points, but then right behind was David Height with 11, Guasp, Adria. It seemed like he was finally getting into his groove from where we had seen him several times throughout the season. He just couldn't quite get the shots to fall in the games we saw, of course.
Yeah. But
then he was getting things going. He had 11, and then right behind him, Ethan Binion with 8. And then there was great play. While it doesn't show up on the point side of things, I think the McEwen brothers really add some dimension to your team. They do a little bit of the dirty work for you.
Yeah, Jonas is a really good distributor. He's been leading our team in assists quite often as of late. And Caleb, he's a very capable shooter. He's got a tad bit of a different looking shot. To where maybe you wouldn't expect him to be a natural kind of maker, but he's a guy that we are begging to shoot more, and he's very, very, very capable of doing it. But yeah, their athleticism and they have moments of really high IQ. And it's really exciting from the standpoint that we have them for 2 more years after this season. So, they do some really nice things for us. And like I said, we almost had 4 guys in double digits. Adria finally started knocking down some shots. He had really been struggling about the last month or so, which was. I know frustrating for him because he's had really good weeks of practice. He's probably our highest energy guy. He's our most verbal guy, shoots well in practice, and then really had moments where he was struggling in games. And he, bounced back, had 3 threes last game, and kind of was back to felt normal shooting-wise for him, and made some nice plays against North Judson as well offensively. So hopefully that's a good sign here over the last week that he starts throwing some shots in again. Now we'd go from 50 a game back into our 60s, and we're scoring well.
Well, like you and I were talking before the show this morning, Mitch, you get to go to the Tiger Den tonight, and that is one of the best gyms to shoot in.
Love it.
So again, maybe your guys can walk into the Tiger Den tonight and knock down some shots.
Well, we said the same thing about South Central's gym too. We think that's a really good shooting gym. Usually the smaller atmospheres, not so much shooter's eye issues. And we really, as shooters, you love those kind of gyms. Or if you're a maker, you love any gym. So.
Right. But
from the standpoint of knocking down shots. It's I think he's from Majorca, Spain, right? So Adria is. Majorca, Spain is a like vacation destination. Like if you're on The Price is Right, like that's one of the trips. I mean, it's beautiful, like blue, like sky blue waters, beautiful like beaches.
He doesn't like Lake Maxine,
and well, let me tell you this. It's not 20 degrees in Majorca, Spain ever, ever. He's waking up to feeling like brittle bones, and I say maybe you're missing some shots here and there because you're just cold and you can't warm up. He's but I look for him to have a really good last 2 weeks of the season here, and I'm sure he's looking forward back to our summer weather that we had at the beginning of the year, but. It's when he shoots well, and David Height's been shooting really well, and Jack obviously he had 6 threes against North Judson. When those guys are making shots, we are really, really tough to beat no matter who we're playing.
This is a silly thing to bring up, but I just love everything about the game of basketball. Your guys' jerseys the other night were slick. I mean, you should have seen them. They're all black, orange trim around the waistband. They've even got the Jordan logo on them. Man, I mean, if I'm playing for the Culver Cavs, I'm feeling pretty good in my jersey, I mean, it's a sharp look, Coach.
Well,
it is.
I appreciate that. I'm a jersey guy too.
Are you? So, I love jerseys.
We've got a nice little setup. Even our JV's got like brand new Jordan brand jerseys. So we have nights where we look ugly playing. We look good playing. So
and the thing about
go ahead.
No, but the things about jerseys these days is I sit there and I watch the guy. I say, how are they playing? It's so tight. It's almost like a second skin on them. Of course, when I played anyway, it was the shorts down to your knees or below, and then the baggy jersey, But when I see it wearing that, it's so tight. I don't know how they move. Of course, they're just used to it these days, I guess.
They are tight. Like, they're real tight. When we first got them in and pulled them out, Reno, my assistant, we pulled out the extra larges, and he goes, those look like mediums or smalls.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, they are tight. But, even like when I was playing several years ago, it was kind of like right in the, there was that stage of the like mid 90s where they're still kind of tighter and shorter. Then late 90s they started getting baggier. Earlier 2000s when I played, they were super baggy.
Yep.
And I was like the one guy on the team that was looking for the small shorts because I didn't want huge things. And
they were still big.
So I guess, but they were like as small as you could get. I hated the big baggy when I played, but so I never really wore them. I tried to find the smallest stuff possible, and I was always scrawny anyway. So I can understand why they would want them as small as they do, but they asked for them. Man, these kids, these shorts are like mid-thigh, and they still want to roll them up.
And they're tight around the thigh, too.
They are.
Bursting at the seams almost.
They look like wrestling singlets sometimes.
They do.
I was just, I get to dress tonight, Coach? Thanks.
Yeah. Well, that early 2000s was that And One mixtape era where everything was baggy below the knees. That was a great era of basketball, really, if you think about it. If you ever have a chance to go back and watch And One mixtape on YouTube, that's a fun. You can go down a dark hole pretty quick.
What's funny is I actually heard a kid make fun of another kid this year because his shorts were almost down to his knees.
Oh my gosh.
Like made a comment like, "You long short wearing." Like, I'm like, what the heck? When is that? How is that
like the
thing?
short shorts
what
these
in the
days,
world?
man?
Like, you guys are weird. Just
man,
dorks.
trends are fun. Well, Coach, I appreciate your time this morning. Hey, good luck against the Tigers tonight, and enjoy the historic Tiger Den, okay?
Yep, I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
I'll see you there.
Yep, thanks,
absolutely. Brother. That is head coach of the Culver Cavaliers, Kyle Evans, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We appreciate his time. We're going to take a break and come back. Head coach Ken Chezem of the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays is coming your way. Hands off to Adria Guas, trying to drive baseline, dump off inside. Ethan Binion, right-hand layup, 4-4 tie ball game here at Union Mills.
since 1936. Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning have always taken pride in doing the job right. Third-generation owner Brian Hammond and his family have always set the standard when it comes to taking care of all your heating and cooling needs. Making your home a comfortable home is the absolute top priority. If you are uncomfortable in your home, give them a call at 574-936-4660. Follow them on Facebook. Let Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning help you take control of your comfort. Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, we know that when agriculture thrives, we all do. It's the heart and grit of our agricultural communities that keep the crops coming in and the livestock cared for. Hi, I'm Isaac Blue, your ag lender at First Farmers here in Knox and North Judson. Thank you for all your hard work. And when you're ready to talk about taking your ag operation to the next level, come by for a visit. Let's harvest success together. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Let's continue the conversation with area high school coaches and more on the Saturday Sports Line.
Stroud trying to beat the full court pressure. They do to Jack Cashel, then to Jay Huerta for three. He matched it on the next play. They're feeling themselves tonight. Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. We are talking North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jay basketball with head coach Ken Chezem. We've got him in the house. Good morning, Coach. Big win last night against Argus. How you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling pretty good this morning.
Yeah,
always do after a win.
Got a little chipper, a little extra pep in your step this morning. Of course, you're taking on Hebron. We've heard stories about Hebron. Very good this year, 20-1. But let's talk about last night, and then let's talk about the game against Culver as well.
Couple wins this week.
Couple wins in a row. We heard from head coach Kyle Evans. He kind of broke down. It sounds like Cole Wilcox had a heck of a night. So catch us up.
Yeah, he did. Cole played really well. They came out and they played a little chaser. They played a little like diamond and one on Quinn Bales. Played some man-to-man against us as well, too. And, I thought Cole did a really nice job finding his openings. The other guys were kind of drawing the defensive attention, and he did really well, and he rebounded well. Sometimes Cole, he doesn't like to make mistakes, and sometimes he gets paralyzed by a mistake. He makes a mistake, and he doesn't like it. And instead of just playing and using that unbelievable strength and athleticism that he has, and I thought he just really battled. There was one time early in the game he got a tip in that, he's right up on the rim, just jump, no step, no nothing, just straight up vertical, and puts it right back in, and it was a big bucket at the time. And 28 points, pretty nice game for him.
Well, we've seen the Culver Cavs throughout the season, and like Coach Evans just told us, it's not probably the season they'd like to have, but every time we see them, they put up a fight. And, they were right there with you. It sounds like within 10 was the final, or right at 10. It seems like they battled you.
Yeah, they do. They play really hard. They're a physical team. And, I thought they did a nice job shooting the ball. They hit some tough shots. Jack hits, he step back fadeaways, and some that are really deep. And, quite honestly, as good as he is, and we knew he was good, I'm okay with him shooting some of those shots. But he made several of them the other night and kind of kept them in the ball game. You
move on and you saw Argus last night. Talk about Argus.
Argus, Coach Breeden over there is, I think he's one of the best around. He does a nice job with his group. He starts 3 freshmen. He's got 2 studs. And Sean Richards, I think, is as good a player as we've played against all year.
Wow.
He's phenomenal.
Wow.
He's averaging 24 a game. He averages about 7 or 8 rebounds, 5 assists. shoots 64% from the field. I mean, he is a tough matchup for anybody. He does a great job of leading his team. You know, you got a guy like that who they've had some really good teams the last couple of years, and some of those guys have graduated, and Sean's still there, and man, he's a tough kid. I was talking to the coach before the game. I think he's ranked second in his class, so he's the whole package. And when you got a guy like him, it makes the rest of your team better. And I thought we've started to play a little bit more like we did maybe before Christmas. You know, before Christmas we're 8-1, we're riding pretty high, and I thought we were gelling really well. Then the injury bug hit, and we've just not quite been the same team since. And you know, we're running different guys in and out of practice, and we're minutes restrictions on some guys, and bad ankles, you know, whatever it is, it's just one of those things that everybody suffers through. It's not an excuse. It's just something that you have to overcome. And I felt like this week we're starting to see glimpses of where we were before.
It seems like you guys have been fighting through this injury bug, though. I mean, you guys still have a winning record at 13-7. You're finishing off the season. Like it sounds like it's the right style of play right now to be playing.
Right, and you know, we've had some young guys step up. I want to mention our JV. Our JV's up to 14 wins right now, and we play a lot of freshmen on the JV. And sometimes, you know, stepping up from 8th grade basketball to JV when you're playing guys who are sophomores and juniors on the JV doesn't always work out real well. But we've got a couple good sophomores on there too, with Gabe Brzezauskas and Christian Ingram that have played really well. But Coach Shepard's done a great job. You know, we were watching a game the other day. It was the JVs from Rochester and Triton, and they flashed the record up there, and they were both like 17-1 or 18-1. Well, both those ones came from our JV.
Wow!
So we've got some kids coming that I'm really excited about, and some of those guys have had to play a little bit for us. And you know, so shout out to those guys for having a great year.
Well, we talk about tonight against Hebron. You know, I haven't seen them this year. I'm sure you've probably seen some film. What have you broken down about them?
Well, first thing that jumps off the screen at you is how big they are. I mean, they're huge. I think they're listed at 6'6", 6'6", 6'7" across the front line. They got a 6'1" point guard and a 6'3" shooting guard. So they're big. They actually, you know, as far as big as they are, they shoot quite a few threes.
Yeah.
Defensively, they're pretty good because of their length. They really guard the arc well. They can change it up and come out and trap you a little bit. So, you know, their record's no fluke. They're 20-1 for a reason because they're pretty good. But you know, it'll be a fun night tonight for us. I think it's a good matchup. In a 3-game week, in the last game of the week, you don't have a whole lot of time to game plan for something like that. And you know, I feel good about where we're at, and we're starting to play a little bit better. And I know our guys will compete, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, right before we started the interview, not only are you facing Hebron, we also talked a little bit about Kankakee Valley, who you will see for your final regular season. It doesn't get easy, and this is the type of year, this is the time of year you want to be playing these types of games to prepare for sectionals, I assume.
No, I think this is great competition, and leading up into the tournament, you want someone to test you, you want someone to push you to be your best, and we're going to have that here in our next 2 games, and you know, I feel good about where we're going. If we can just kind of stay healthy and keep improving here over the next 2 weeks, I feel good about us.
And I know the pairing show, of course, is tomorrow. At this point in time, with you know, tonight's game, and then you've got Kankakee Valley to prepare for, are you really paying attention to the draw, or is that?
Well, we will tomorrow. We'll be paying attention to it. Everybody does, and we'll get together and watch that at school tomorrow on the Jumbotron there in the gym. And you know, it's funny, when I was younger, I would always get so nervous, and my stomach would turn, but the draw is what it is. You can't control it. And they always ask you afterwards, did you get a good draw? Well, the draw is as good as you play.
Yeah.
If you're going to win a sectional, you're going to have to play well that week, and you know, it doesn't matter who you're facing. You just got to play well. So we've done that the last 2 years. So we'd like to make it a turkey here, win 3 in a row. So
now, correct me if I'm wrong. You host that sectional, correct?
Yes, we do.
So you get to be at home for the last 2 games, or the last 3 games here.
4 games.
Last 4 games of the year, and then also in the sectionals. I mean, that's a pretty sweet deal,
That's
Coach.
not a bad deal.
That's a pretty sweet.
We'll be playing. We make it. We'll be playing the regional there at home too. So
Just like last
we'll
year.
have to get the bus out to the semi-state, right?
Wouldn't that be great? That'd be great.
That would be great. My response to hey, did you get a good draw was, are we in it?
Yeah.
Okay then.
I like
Got a good
that.
draw.
I like that.
So, how'd you do at table tennis last week?
I did okay. I would tell you what, I do go when I go up there to South Bend. There's some really good players, so I get taught a few things when I go.
So you're just taking care of business when you play the guys at Judson then?
Yeah, I'm just trying to be the
Stay
best
ahead.
at Judson, and I have to go find some really good competition.
It's all about bragging rights.
Yeah.
I love the competition, Coach. Well, hey, good luck tonight against some other good competition in Hebron. We hope it's a big-time Blue Jay win for you.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. That is head coach of the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays, Ken Chezem, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a break. We'll talk Knox Redskin boys basketball with head coach Joe Eskridge. That's on the other side. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Line. They get it in. Back to Ward now. It's Colin Ward. Full court heave up to Clayton Stroud. Dump off inside to Loudenbach, and he gets it to go. Braden Loudenbach, first points on the board tonight. Goes to the Satellites. 2-0.
That's how you take care of the press. Over top, nice hard passes.
Let them out back all day. Dirty remind. One love. There is one question I'd really love to ask.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Browns. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392, the Stark County Co-op.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
It's time now for more local sports talk from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting and worldwide on WKVI.com.
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. Mitch Columbi along with sports analyst Chris McGowan. Sorry, we got so many guys I've got in my head right now, Chris. I'm sorry. I got Justin Ruff, I got you, I got Terry, I got everybody.
It's all good.
I'm trying to figure it out. But hey, we just talked with Kyle Evans of the Culver Cavs. We talked with Ken Chezem of the North Judson-San Pierre Blue Jays. Like I said earlier, we're trying to get all 8 of our boys high school basketball coaches in on this morning, and we have an opportunity to talk Knox Redskin basketball with head coach Joe Eskridge. Tough loss last night against Wheeler, but they get to turn right around and host the South Central Satellites for senior night. That's where we will be tonight, going live at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to say he walked in, and I don't get scared very often, but he walked in. He's got a serious look on his face. I'm a little worried this morning.
He's all business.
He's all business today.
He's all business, and understandably so. You know, a tough week for Coach right now, but you have an opportunity to take on South Central. Tough loss against John Glenn and then Wheeler. Talk us through the week and what you saw.
Last night was a tough one. Just all night, the first half, just kind of slow on our rotations and on defense, and it caught up with us at the end. And credit to Wheeler. They ended up. Like we were slow, and they made the shots. They made every shot down the stretch and made the big one at the end.
Yeah, what's something against John Glenn you saw that maybe surprised you, or something that the boys need to work on here?
Yeah, I mean, John Glenn, I mean, they're a tough opponent. We actually played a pretty solid game, 3 quarters anyway. We kind of went cold shooting in the fourth quarter there. Other than that, I mean, defensively we're much better against John Glenn. I mean, it was a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter and close game throughout. I mean, they hit a couple shots there, but we were in the game there. Wheeler, I mean, like I said, I mean, for whatever reason, we struggled. We didn't take advantage of opportunities of pushing the ball down the court, and in the half court defensively, they gave us trouble.
Yeah, I assume with tonight being senior night, focus and intensity will probably be there, knowing the Redskins. I know the type of play they bring when everything's on the line, and especially at home at Harold Weinberg Gymnasium. What's something that you're going to be telling the boys here this evening in preparation to take on the Satellites?
Those things that we have been struggling with, we have to be better. We got to come out, on obviously short preparation, coming off, we got to go back to back, and but that's what you want after a kind of game like that. All right, hey, we have a chance to get that bad taste out of your mouth right away. We don't have to stew about it or think about it too much. We just go back out and try to right those wrongs.
Yeah, get you ready for postseason play. So going in tonight, what's your biggest concern going into tonight?
We're playing a tough South Central team that's much improved and has been getting better all year long, and we're going to have to be ready to come out and compete and play the way that we're capable of playing. And like I think we've talked about that all year here. I think and a lot of the things that we've struggled with, it hasn't been so much the opponents. I think it's been, us not executing and having consistent focus, and it's here for stretches of games, or it's here this game and not that game, and for whatever reason I haven't been able to get the job done.
When I was looking at the stats preparing for tonight's game, it looks like Miles McLaughlin has really taken the next step in leadership capabilities for this team. Talk about what he's been able to do out on the court through this adversity.
Well, I mean, like what we've been talking about, probably of all the guys, he's been the most consistent. Scoring the ball, for the last stretch here. I mean, it's been, he's been there in the scoring column, and then where we've struggled is to have, guys consistently there as well, and sometimes, like it, you can have matchups or whatnot, but, just we haven't been getting consistent play.
One thing that I wanted to bring up, of course, we haven't had a chance to talk since that win last Saturday at Oregon Davis on the road, 52-33. It was a big win for you guys. One of the players that stuck out to me that really just provided great minutes was Jaden Strong. He just gets in there. He seems like he's not afraid of the moment, and he provides great minutes for you guys.
Yeah, he's a great kid, and he does, and plays hard, and that's one of those guys. Like, yeah, we'd like to, but he's a guy that's in there. He's going to be scrappy. He has a little knack for finding spots in the defense, and last night, that was one of those things. We weren't breaking down and to where we can draw help, and being able to find a guy like that in open space around the basket, and Jaden's a great kid.
I know you're focused on tonight against South Central, but one thing that's interesting to wrap up the year for the Redskins is you're going to be on the road for the final 2 games. They're both conference games in LaVille and Triton, and I think the last time I checked, you're 3-2 in HNAC play. How important are these last 2 games here to button up the year?
I mean, yeah, it's huge. I mean, that's what we want to get some good, consistent play, and taking it into the tournament. it's nice to have those conference opponents there, because that's just kind of, and on the road it's like a simulation of what's going to be happening real soon in the future.
And you talk about it. I mean, it's right here, Coach. What kind of things are you saying? What type of things is the assistant coaches saying in preparation to be ready for sectionals? I know you're at one game at a time, but at the same time, I'm sure you're preparing guys. Hey, right around the corner is the biggest time of year. We need to be playing our best basketball.
Yeah, it's just the focus, man. We can't have those lapses, because now we're talking about, it's a tough loss, and okay, we need to take those things and learn from it and come back the next game. Well, in the sectional time, you have those lapses, and the stakes are much higher.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of kind of what head coach Russ Radkid said to us in the fall at one of the Saturday sports lines is, hey, us and the coaching staff, we're doing everything we can to prepare the boys. At the end of the day, when the whistle blows, it's up to them.
Yeah, but I think then that's what he's saying there too. But it's on me too. I mean, and it's on the coach and the coaching staff to get those guys ready, and we need to figure out here real quick, what we need to do to get more consistent play.
And what a better way to do it than tonight on senior night, hosting South Central, right?
Of course, yes.
What do you do for fun, Joe? What, away from basketball, what do you do? What do you enjoy? What's a hobby you do?
As far as I know, from traveling all over in the summer, and you talk to the coaches before the game, and anymore, I don't know. I think there might have been one that used to, but I believe I might be the only art teacher that coaches baskbasketball in the state of Indiana.
In the state of Indiana.
I mean, it's always PE or history or math or whatever. So I guess to answer your question, I do art.
I did not know you were an artist.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
draw.
Yep.
Paint?
He does all the murals too that are in town.
Do you really?
Yeah, I painted the mural uptown in Knox, and then
I had no idea.
At North Judson, we did with a student project, painted the sidewalk there in Judson, and I do my own thing. It's that's one of the things with basketball. It's very. And coaching is very time consuming, as we all know, and it's one of those things that I don't probably get to do as much as I would like. But yeah, I enjoy art.
Wow, I did not know that about you, Joe. That is pretty cool, man. I gotta check out some of your art sometime. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I've painted one time. I went to my buddy's house, and he put a bunch of different colored paint in one whole 32-ounce drink cup, and then he had a blank canvas. And he put the canvas on top of the cup, then turned everything upside down, and then slowly lifted the cup and you see what I'm going, and all the different colors. I don't know what that's called.
It's called pour painting.
It was pretty
the paint
cool.
on. Yeah, we do that. We do that with the students.
Yeah, that was really well, man. I need to come check out art class sometime. That sounds like a lot of fun, Coach.
Anytime, drop in.
I will. I'm gonna text you. You bet. Hey, I'm gonna take you up on that, Coach. I like that stuff. Well, I appreciate your time. We're going to talk to you this afternoon, so, hey, can't get rid of me quite yet.
No, I mean, I'm always happy to see you guys.
I know. Well, we'll see you tonight, Coach. Good luck against the Satellites, okay?
All right, thanks.
Good luck.
All right, that is head coach of the Knox Redskins, Joe Eskridge, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to see him this evening, 7 Eastern, 6 Central, right here on WKVI. We're taking a break. Head coach Larry Sennert's in the lobby. He's waiting. We're going to talk Oregon Davis basketball up next.
I see a light black, with flowers and my love both never to come back.
They get it in. Back to Ward now. It's Colin Ward. Full court heave up to Clayton Stroud. Dump off inside to Loudenbach, and he gets it to go. Braden Loudenbach, first points on the board tonight. Goes to the Satellites. 2-0.
That's how you take care of the press. Over top, nice hard passes.
So it stays here. Out of bounds play underneath their own basket. McEwen to take it out. He finds Adria Guasp. 3 on the way. Splash! Big time 3. Adria Guasp gets one to go through. Taschel switches off. It's Noah Howard on Jack Rogers now. Then over to David Height. Pops a 3. No good. He tracks his own rebound down. Put back off the glass. David Height. No one blocked him out.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, we know that when agriculture thrives, we all do. It's the heart and grit of our agricultural communities that keep the crops coming in and the livestock cared for. Hi, I'm Isaac Blue, your ag lender at First Farmers here in Knox and North Judson. Thank you for all your hard work. And when you're ready to talk about taking your ag operation to the next level, come by for a visit. Let's harvest success together. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Listen for more insight in local high school sports on the Saturday Sports Line. Here's your sports director, Mitch Columbi.
Jay Huerta skip past to Higley, then inside to Loudenbach.
Nice
Good movement from the Satellites. They bring it back within 1. Higley comes up with a steal. My goodness, here comes Kevin. Double off to Noah Howard, the right-hand layup. And that means the Satellites take a 1-point ball game, 29-28.
Well, you can tell that game was a lot of fun, Chris. It really went down to the wire between the Cavs and the Satellites on Thursday.
Usually does.
Yeah.
And back and forth, we talked about last year's game, the big comeback by South Central. So, Culver heading to the Tiger Den tonight. But I'll be honest with you, to me, the matchup in the area tonight is Hebron coming to North Judson.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matchup of, Hebron 6'6", 6'7", 6'5", 6'3", 6'1". That's their starting lineup. But physically, I don't know if they can match up with North Judson. So it's going to be a contrast in styles. For sure.
It'll be definitely
could be interesting.
It will, and we'll definitely want to get score updates throughout the broadcast. So even though we're not covering the Blue Jays, we will definitely have score updates from all of our other area schools. But something we were talking about in the broadcast the other night with Terry Minix was at some point I think it's going to have to come out. We need to just say, okay, the South Central Culver rivalry is real. Between and it could be anything: football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever. It just seems like when those two schools meet up, I think it's gotten to the point now where we can say safely it is a rivalry.
It is, and I think it stems from the kids just going out and competing. It's not location. Usually rivalries are hey, we're corporations that butt up against each other, you're 5 miles down the road or 8 miles down the road. But I think this rivalry is just something that stems from the kids competing and constantly playing against each other year in and year out. It's just something that has grown.
Yeah. Well, and it's every time I've done a South Central Culver game, it doesn't matter what sport it is, it seems like you're in for a good matchup every time. So I think it's safe to say, and we'll say it here on the Saturday Sports Line, Culver South Central, it's a rivalry.
It's a rivalry. It's on.
Well, we have an opportunity to talk about Oregon Davis boys basketball with head coach Larry Sennert. You've got a special guest in the house. Who you got with us, Coach?
You got my grandson, my assistant.
Oh, you're a new assistant?
Yeah, he's helping me and our coach Phillips and I. So
wow, what's his name?
Camden.
Well, nice to meet you, Camden. Good morning.
Hi. So good morning.
He's a little shy.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you bringing in your grandson. That's really cool. I like that. We saw you last Saturday. Tough loss against Knox, but like you said, it's just you guys are going through some trouble. It's just been an up and down roller coaster. It's not been a good few weeks now, but you're on the road tonight. You take on Lakeland Christian. How do you feel about tonight?
Well, not to make excuses, I would have felt real good, but it looks like two of the kids that played against the Knox won't play tonight. Frazier's got a sprained ankle, so there's a starter that's been a huge part of our team. And then Carson's still not cleared to play, so he won't play. But you know what? We'll go there prepared, ready to play, and we'll give it everything we got, and hopefully we can get a win out of the deal. But
man, that proverbial snowball that's injuries it's not rolling down the hill. It is on a full just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cassian Swanson hasn't been there for 2 days. He's been sick with the flu, which is going through. So,
yeah.
You've got kids that just haven't been there, and it's all right. We're in the part of our schedule where players like, you get to play a game tonight, take tomorrow off, then Monday we play a game, Tuesday we play a game, and
right.
Not much practice time there, but that's all right.
Who you got Monday?
Trinity South Bend.
And then Rochester the 20th.
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, how do you stay in it with all the things that are out of your control happening? I mean, obviously it's out of your control when kids get injured and sick. How do you and the coaching staff keep things positive?
Well, they stay positive, so we have to be positive with them. They know that it's an uphill battle, and they know that it's next man up, and being short of numbers, that's kind of hard. You don't know who right now we're going to play with kids that may have not had any varsity time that are going to play in a game tonight, so to speak. Could be JV players. Anyway, you just accept the role, and we're in it for the long haul. It's easier said than done. I realize that, but our kids are there, and they know what it takes. We may not be getting it done like we want to and like they want to, but we're still, like I've said many times, we're there practicing every day. We're trying to get better every day, and credit goes to those kids that show up every day and work their butts off.
Well, and that's just it. The one thing that is controllable that a kid, an athlete can control is effort.
Effort, energy, and enthusiasm.
Exactly.
If you can get those three things going.
Those three things, and it doesn't matter, like I said, it's just that those are the things that the kids can control. And if you have to come in as a coach and try to force your kids to show those three things, then it's going to be a struggle, and you're not going to like it very much.
No.
But as long as the kids keep coming in and are doing those three things, that makes it a little less, I guess, worrisome on your part, right, or burdensome. But again, like I said, I've known you for forever. And a Larry Sennert basketball team is going to be hard-nosed, and they're going to have enthusiasm. They're going to play the game the right way. So I didn't think that would be a problem.
No, and it's not a problem. But the problem is, with those things, we still want to win.
Right.
And we still got to get better at things in order for us to win, And they know that. We put that, effort, energy, enthusiasm on the board along with everything else at every game. And they know it. They just... Like I say, it's sometimes you got to play the hand you're dealt, and that's exactly what we're doing as a team right now. So we'll get through it. We're there, we're in for the long haul. So
I know that a lot of our area, mostly all of our area teams do a salute to service night or hometown heroes night or support into first responders, and that's kind of what you guys did last Saturday. You were supporting, thanking military veterans as well as first responders, EMS, police officers. You had a really nice message in a video that was put together by Athletic Director Aubrey Lady. Just take the moment. I know how much it means to you. We're Americans, and
right.
We appreciate everyone, their sacrifices, especially first responders and veterans.
Well, first thing, Aubrey went above and beyond.
Yeah,
she deserves the credit for that. She put her whole heart in that. I mean, there's a lot to that. There's more to that than most people realize. Secondly, probably just as important, those people get zero respect for what they actually deserve as far as the veterans, as far as the police department, the EMTs, all those people, they're like everyone else. They're putting their heart and soul in what they've done in the past, what they're doing today, and they deserve a lot of credit. The credit they don't know, policemen, they don't get the credit they deserve. And it's I shouldn't say, but it's the country we live in right now, and that's not right.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And then another thing I like is, all the schools do this too. You have the big flag that's brought out, and you have first responders from Stark County.
Right.
It makes them feel like they're a part of it, and I hope that they enjoy it. They recognize that you honored them, and because it really is a nice thing when our area schools do that. It really adds a little bit of fanfare to the excitement.
In the VFW, the credit goes to them too. I don't know who else all involved. I know Terry Turner brought we got jerseys, and we got the flag was brought in. Just a lot of nice things, and credit goes to those people too for all that they do down there.
I will say you made a good comment. It's the world we live in, but we got a nice little pocket here.
We do.
We got a great pocket of good people in this area.
We just got to continue to make it better every day, though. That's the difference. We can't fall in that crack. We got to make it better.
Right. No, it seems like everybody I've met in this area is just genuinely good people and hardworking people at that. Hey, it's the Midwest. That's what we're about here. Well, Coach, to finish off the year, you're going to have the pairing show tomorrow. Are you guys going to watch that, or what are you paying attention for? Is there anything that you're looking to have happen, or just whatever happens, happens?
Whatever happens, happens. We're just, we'll on to the next game. We play Monday, of course. We'll be prepared for that, and then we're going to play Rochester after that. So we've got to worry about ourselves. I could go down the stats and talk about everybody on my team, different things they do, but the kids we play against. But it's really about us.
Yeah,
it's simply about us. And if we don't improve on the things we need to improve on, and those areas we need to improve on to make us a competitive team. And little by little, we're getting there. It may not seem that way sometimes to some people, but the kids are there and they're working at it.
Is Monday an away game?
Monday is an away.
Okay. So
no, Monday's home. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Monday is home against Trinity South Bend. Yeah, it's a makeup game, so Monday is home. We weren't going to have that home game. Now it's kind of nice to get a home game.
So it's your last home game of the year.
It's the last home game, which wasn't even planned, but that's all right. It's a great home game. Get to play there, and
My question was going to be, with all these injuries, is there a chance of anybody being able to come back? Frazier's got the ankle injury, so that's probably going to be day to day. But with the other injured, without saying too much, is there any chance of getting any of the kids back?
Yeah, Carson will play on Monday. He'll be back from the concussion protocol. He's had to go through all the steps. There's 5 steps there. And, sometimes, we'd like to have him back when maybe he could play tonight if it was in the right situation. But ultimately, I just talked to Aubrey before I came. We've got to worry about the individual.
His health.
We've got to worry about him because if we're not playing professional basketball. We're in our community and our lives and where we're going down the road, and we got to make sure Carson's. A concussion's a weird deal.
It is.
You don't know what the symptoms are and what you think they are. So he will come back. Hopefully Monday he'll get to play, which will help us. And then Ethan Hewitt, he played sparingly, the other night, played a couple quarters. He's wearing like a half soft cast. But, he gives you everything he's got, but trying to catch a ball sometimes is a little difficult, but he's there and he's working. And I think Cashin will be back, and Frazier, he's not a quitter. I'll have to fight him to get him not to play today.
Exactly.
But we'll see. We'll see. And there's Brady, all the kids that are playing. The other Connor Matthews, those kids are all stepped up and do good things. It's just with limited numbers. Sometimes you're thrown in the fire, and some of my kids that are on the JV just aren't ready to get in that yet. And you don't want to put them out there and then get, annihilated or, embarrassed because they're playing against a JV kid playing against a varsity kid that's played varsity all year long. It's just not fair to them.
Right.
So even though they want to play and they're there and they're practicing, they're trying to get better, kind of, it is what it is. We'll get there.
Well, good luck tonight on the road against Lakeland Christian, Coach. We'll keep an eye on that score, and we'll see. Hey, hope it's a big-time Bobcat win, and thanks for bringing your grandson in. Hope you had a good time, Camden. You enjoy the rest of your day, okay, buddy?
Thank you.
He listens all the time, so I said, hey, you can go with me this morning. So
That's awesome. Appreciate it, Coach. Hey, enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Good luck tonight.
Thanks.
All right, that is head coach of the Oregon Davis Bobcats, Larry Sennert, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a quick break, go to the top of the hour. Athlete of the Week interview is up next. That's with Connor Wintczak. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Saturday Sports Line.
Till she turned around and pointed at the wall and said, "That picture from our honeymoon."
Jay Huerta skip past to Higley, then inside to Loudenbach. Good movement from the Satellites. They bring it back within one. Higley comes up with a steal. My goodness, here comes Kevin. Double off to Noah Howard, the right-hand layup. Oh! And that means the Satellites take a one-point ball game, 29-28.
There ain't nothing in this house worth fighting over.
Out of bounds play underneath their own basket. Colin Ward finds Clayton Stroud for the left-hand lay-in, and he gets it to go. 39-33. The Satellites lead by 6 now.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
From the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, quality care closer to home. You're listening to WKVI FM 99.3. Knox, North Judson, Winamac, playing the best of vinyl gold. A service of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting.
It's time now for Hour 2 of the Saturday Sports Line with your host, Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI Sports Director, Mitch Columbi, and sports analyst, Chris McGowan.
We are back for more from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. This is the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line. It's time to talk about our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, senior wrestler from Knox Community High School, Connor Wintczak. Man, Connor had an amazing season, not only in the football season, he is also quite the wrestler. He qualified for regionals. Then he qualified for semi-state. What a run it was. We had a chance to talk with him this past week as he dives in and tells us about his senior year here at Knox. Without further ado, here's my sit-down interview with senior wrestler from Knox High School, Connor Wintczak.
All right, I am with our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week from Knox Community High School, Connor Wintczak. We talked not too long ago in the fall, Connor. Of course, that was to do with the football team. You guys were being honored for, I believe, a sectional championship that you guys had just won, or the regional. You guys did so well. But what's great about this interview is it's more one-on-one here now with you. You've been awarded our Athlete of the Week, and you've done such a good job on this wrestling team. Of course, we've heard about you through head coach Julio Cisneros. We also heard about you from our former Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, Katie Snyder. She talked about you a lot. This is just an interview that is long overdue, so I appreciate your time today. Let's start it off the bat. You go from football season all the way to semi-state. Wrestling had already started. You then turn around that following Monday after the football game in Indianapolis, and you're practicing, or you're on the mat right off the bat.
Yep.
What was that like for you?
It was a pretty intense experience. Like, going from football into wrestling, the conditioning that you need is completely different. So all of my friends that were on the wrestling team were already ready and warmed up and ready for the season, yeah. And they were all, started off practice, I was getting tired, and they were all ready to keep going the whole time. So having that really pushed me forward to start going better and faster.
So when you come into the wrestling season, and with everything that had happened in football, it was the greatest season in football history here at Knox Community High School. You just wrapped that up. Now you're going into wrestling. What's your mindset like? What are you telling yourself? What were your goals maybe early on?
Early on, I didn't know if I was going to make it all the way to state. So I had one goal, and that was to work hard enough to make it to semi-state, which I did accomplish. It's really just incredible to think, like, after that first semi-state win for Knox, I went to semi-state for wrestling.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So now tell me this, when you start the season, did you already know that you would be in the 138 weight class?
I thought that I was going to try and cut down to 132, which honestly I probably could have. I was weighing in pretty light for a 138-pounder, and 138 just seemed like the better weight class to go to.
And what are some of the things your coaches have been or were telling you throughout the season? Maybe starting out, Coach Cisneros, of course, is a part of the football team as well. So, what are some of the things the coaches are telling you at the beginning of the season in order to get, later to where you were just last week?
There's a lot of kids that are pretty good that I had to wrestle. So before a match, like say we went to a tournament where we had 5 different teams, they would tell me, hey, look, this kid on this team, he's going to be real good at this takedown, so you got to defend that. So then I would have my practice partner try and drill that takedown so that I could defend it.
Very smart. Talk about the coaching staff. What is it about these guys you like?
They're all-around great coaches. Julio and my dad, Ronald, they're great coaches. They push us hard. They tell us what we need to do. They're really good with the moves that they show, and they're great coaches.
Do you, and this may be a double-edged sort of a question, do you love football just as much as wrestling, or is wrestling just maybe a little bit closer to your heart?
Well, I've been wrestling since I was 3 years old, so wrestling is definitely taking the cake on that one.
Well, you get into sectionals, you place 4th, which is good enough for you to advance to regionals. You did the same thing at regionals to get to semi-state. Talk us through, maybe actually you're the HNAC conference champion and the MVP from that meet, if I'm not mistaken. So let's talk about that and then lead us on into the sectional and regional run.
Okay, so I started the conference meet, and I knew it was going to be difficult. I had to go out there and wrestle my hardest, and I also knew that I have a bunch of friends from different teams, like Judson and Triton and LaVille, and if I'd see them on the mat, I'd go over that mat, watch them. If I saw something that they could do, I'd yell, hey, do this move, and try and help coach them as much as I could. And then after a match, even then, I'd be like, look, this is how you can defend this, or you can run this here. Just trying to be a good wrestler, good coach, I guess, all around.
And when you found out that you were the conference meet MVP, what was that moment like for you?
I was very excited. It brought a lot of joy because I've been doing it, like I said, since I was 3 years old. Yeah. So to get an award like that it's nice. It's incredible.
So then you finish off the regular season, you go into sectionals, you place 4th to advance to regionals and so on to get to semi-state. Talk us through both of those days there.
The sectional, I won my first match, and then my second match I had a pretty good kid from Valpo, and he beat me. So then I went into the loser's bracket and beat another kid, then went to the finals for 3rd and 4th, and then I lost to another pretty good kid from LaPorte. Both of those kids, I think, made it to state.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and then you went to regionals, but you had to go through some similar adversity. It sounds like you had moments of you were taking care of business, and then you also were humbled a little bit, letting yourself know, okay, these are some other things I got to work on. And in the moment, you've got to change. This is the postseason at this point. You've got to adapt to those moments. What was facing that adversity like when you got to the regional round?
So at the regionals, I had a kid who'd taken 2nd at the other regional, and I went out there, wrestled my hardest because I knew that if I didn't win that match, I wasn't going to advance. My season was going to be over. So went out there, wrestled my hardest, and then second round again, I had the Valpo kid, and I knew that, okay, look, this is going to be a tough match. I got to try and defend what he was doing last time, and I did pretty good at it for the first period, but then the second period, he kind of just, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
But then you move on and you get to have an opportunity to place for 3rd or 4th again.
Yes, and then I had the exact same LaPorte kid. And
funny how that works out.
Yeah. With that match, I don't know, I was tired or something, but I had to try and push past that. So it took a lot out of me for that match, but I ended up not winning it.
Well, then you get to semi-state, though. You still got to semi-state. So you're still in the talks. You know, you're not just pushed to the side quite yet. You make it to semi-state. Now talk about the semi-state run.
The semi-state, I only had one match because I did end up losing it, but it was a really good match for it to be my last one, if you understand. Like, I know this kid. I've wrestled with him before. We've practiced at my house, actually. We are pretty close, Wesley Smith. And I think he was ranked number 2, but he got 3rd at that semi-state. And honestly, I would rather have him beat me over anybody else to end my season.
When you look back at everything you've done, you did mention how you got to play in the semi-state game for football. Then you go right into the winter sport, into wrestling. You get to perform at the semi-state level there. You busy in the spring?
No. I'm going to start working, I think.
That was a trick question. But, you know, in all honesty, when you think back to the whole year, you got a smile on your face. It must make you feel pretty proud.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible feeling being able to do both semi-state for both of the sports that I've played for most of my life.
Tell us your parents' names.
Asia Wintczak, Ronald Wintczak, Athena Camp, and Justin Camp.
And talk about the support system they are for you.
Oh, they're great. They are amazing. They've pushed me through. Like I said, my dad's been my coach since I was 3, so having that has been really nice.
What's it mean to Connor Wintczak to be a Knox Redskin?
It's an incredible thing. I'd rather be a Knox Redskin than anything else.
Well, you're a senior, Connor. You leave quite a very good reputation here behind. What do you think you want your exiting message to be? I know it's still early. You still got to get through the spring before you graduate here. But as you think about your exiting message, what's something you want the younger wrestlers or football players to maybe know?
You got to put the work in. It takes a lot. It will take a lot of your mental strength, physical strength. But you put that work in, you will accomplish every goal that you set.
Connor, I appreciate your time today. Congratulations on being named our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. Good luck in the future.
Thank you.
Big time shout out to Athletic Director Neil Minix for helping me set that interview up. As we're going to take a break and come back, hey, we've got head coach Mike Springer in the house of the Winamac Warriors. We're going to chat Warriors basketball on the other side. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to KVB's WKVI.
So to start the fourth quarter, the Cavs will have possession stolen by. It's Derek Welsh. Right hand layup goes through right off the bat to start the fourth.
At First Farmers Bank and Trust, we know that when agriculture thrives, we all do. It's the heart and grit of our agricultural communities that keep the crops coming in and the livestock cared for. Hi, I'm Isaac Blue, your ag lender at First Farmers here in Knox and North Judson. Thank you for all your hard work. And when you're ready to talk about taking your ag operation to the next level, come by for a visit. Let's harvest success together. First Farmers Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
The Saturday Sports Line continues with Kankakee Valley area coaches and special guests. Here's Sports Director Mitch Columbi.
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the longest-running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line. Shout out to Harold Welter, wherever you are, Harold. We hope you are enjoying your weekend. We're talking Winamac Warrior basketball with head coach Mike Springer. We've got him on the line. Coach, you had a couple of big wins this week. How you feeling?
We're feeling good. Things are coming along. The kids are getting better every day. They're excited about our play in the last the month of January, and we're just feeling good about things right now.
Hey, you took care of business on the road against North White, 65-32, and then again on the road last night in Royal Center to take on the Pioneer Panthers, 52-31. And we've seen your guys in action. You've got the swingmen. You've got the guys that can put the ball in the hole, Coach. It sounds like you are clicking right now.
You know, the kids are really playing unselfish basketball, and they're moving the ball. And I'm going to say this. I really believe it starts on the defensive end, how they're really helping each other, how they're communicating. And I think that carries over to the defensive end. And as I said, the kids are being really good teammates. They're being very, very selfless. And the ball moving, and it's finding the guy that's putting it in the basket for us.
You know, North White and Pioneer, two very tough places to play. So you go on the road. Talk about the mindset that the kids had going into both those games. Because like I said, it doesn't matter how good North White is or how good Pioneer is. When you go on the road to those two places, two hard places to get a win, and you come out with double-digit victories in both cases.
Exactly. You know, and I'm kind of old school. I'm old for sure. But, you know, I think our defense has really stepped up. And, you know, we held North White to 32 and the Pioneer to 31. And I just really feel like I'm not sure we come in with a defensive mindset, but our defense is traveling with us. And I think that's something that the kids have improved on as the season's gone along. We've played different defenses, but we've been playing a lot more man-to-man lately, and I think the kids know that we have a good team defense, and it all begins with communicating what's going on the defensive end.
Yeah, you've got Caston coming up here on the 20th this week, Coach. An opportunity to get to 500. What's something you guys are looking for to take care of business against Caston?
Well, you know, they got kids that can shoot the basketball. The Zyder kid and the Stinson kid are seasoned veterans for them, and they're getting 13 and 14 points apiece. And but they got other pieces. They got kids that can score inside, and they got a freshman kid that's getting 7 points a game for him and 5 boards, and he's an inside-outside threat. So, you know, we're going to have our work cut out for us. And again, we just know that we got to hang our hat on playing some really good defense, and then we just got to be really selfless on the offensive end, because we've had a lot of kids do a lot of different kids scoring points lately, and you know, I think that's a positive for us, because you just can't zone in on one guy. And again, I think I said this last night that John Malco has really given up of himself this year, and he's scoring points for us. But there are nights that he is a great teammate and finds his teammates and works on the defensive end. And you know, I mean, he's a kid that you know, he's played 3 years of varsity basketball, scored a lot of points here, but he's just, and I don't want to say this the right way, you know, he's still looking for his stuff, but he knows he's got teammates out there that are more than capable, and so he's looking for them as well. And to me, I think that's really hard for a kid that's been a scorer all of his life to maybe say, okay, I got other guys that on the floor that I can use to get points. And you know, again, I think that's important in winning games, that your guys don't get caught up in who gets the glory. They just want to be successful. So you know, as we hit this into the season stretch, we know we got a good team in Caston. Even though they've lost a couple of games lately, they still are a fiery bunch, and it's kind of a backyard rivalry, just like the one Pioneer we had last night. And DeMont Christian is a good basketball team with we'll have to be locked in, ready to go to get both of them.
Yeah, Coach, you get to finish the season off at home against Caston, your last conference game of the year, and then DeMont Christian on the 22nd. Tomorrow's the draw. What are you guys doing for the draw? You going to watch it together?
We are going to we have a really neat thing that we have on Sundays here at school. We have a junior basketball league between us and Knox, and the championship tournament is Sunday, and so we're going to do that, and at the end of all that, the kids are going to get together, and we're going to watch the draw, and so it'll be a good time. We got some Tippy's Pizza coming in, a little plug for them. Sorry if I broke any FCC rules and regulations.
No, you just need to tell them they need to sponsor with us. That's all.
Okay. I got you. But, we're going to spend some time together. We're going to get together here and practice about a half hour. Then we got this game we call Mat Ball that I don't know where I came up with it. Somebody made it up for me because I ain't smart enough to make it up. But we're going to get us a game of mat ball in this morning, and hopefully score a lot of runs and have a lot of fun, and then go home and enjoy the weekend and be ready to watch the draw and be ready to practice on Monday.
Well, I sure do appreciate your time this morning, Coach. It means a lot. And, hey, you get a win against Caston. Well, Chris calls that a 3-game, a winning streak,
That's
right?
That's a win streak.
That's a win streak, Coach. So go get
Exactly.
Caston. Go get Caston.
All right, we're going to.
All right, Coach.
All righty. Thanks, Mitch. Appreciate all you do for high school basketball. Appreciate it. And I know there's a lot of people out there that do, and just keep up the good job.
Hey, I appreciate it, Coach. Same to you, Coach. You're doing a good job as well. Appreciate your time.
All right.
All right, that is head coach Mike Springer of the Winamac Warriors here on the Saturday Sports Line. I told you we're trying to get all 8 of our boys basketball head coaches on this morning. Don't go anywhere. We've got head coach of the West Central Trojans, Brad Odom, up next. He's on the line. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home. Pulaski Memorial Hospital is all about community and keeping our community spotlight shining on the accomplishments of our youth. That's why PMH is proud to be a sponsor of our local high school sports action on WKVI, our community radio station. Pulaski Memorial Hospital. Quality care closer to home.
Here's more with area high school coaches as we return to the Saturday Sports Line from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital Studios on K99.3.
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital Studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. Hey, we are staying in Pulaski County. We have a chance to talk with head coach of the West Central Trojans, Brad Odom. We've got him on the line. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good, Mitch. How are you?
Hey, we're hanging in there. We haven't really talked much since we saw you against that Winamac game, and I know it didn't go your way, Coach, but, man, the fight that this team has, of course, we saw some of the individuals last season carry over into this year, really playing well, and you guys really have a good young core. Brendan Grindstaff really comes to mind right off the bat from that Winamac matchup, but what a close game it was. Coach, since that time, I know you've been dealing with some injuries and such, but all in all, you guys are just fighting every game, it sounds like.
Yeah. Right now we've got a couple of kids that we need to count on that are a little injured. We got a separated shoulder. He's trying to rehab his way back to hopefully help us by sectional time. Got a pulled groin. on another one of our post players. So right now we're really down 3 posts.
Jeez.
And we're looking to try to find a way to fill that time with some JV kids and having to play defensively a little bit different than what we were prepared for. But, at this point in time, I think everybody around the area has either had some injuries or attrition or some sickness they're dealing with. So really it's nothing new.
Yeah, you guys are just fighting through it, and I wanted to bring up Bryce Nannenga, of course. Every time I look at the stat sheet, I really can't believe he's just a junior coach. Is that really the case?
Yeah, he's a kid that's been very consistent for us. Wow. He's improved his game in all areas. You look from last year to this year, his scoring is up, his rebounding is up, his steals, blocks, and assists are all up. So that shows you the amount of time and effort that he puts into his preparation and the quality of the game that he's putting on the floor every single night for us.
Yeah, 19 points a game is what he's averaging from what I'm seeing on Max Preps here. I hope that's correct. But really putting in the work, Coach, for you. And then, Schlemmen, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, your senior, he seems to be doing well as well.
Well, if you're looking at where we're at right now, we're pretty much a guard-oriented team. So you've got Brendan Grindstaff, Jaden Miller, Connor Marlatt, and Addison Huber. So Bryce Nannenga has been our post player for the last couple of games. We're rushing out a group of kids that are, for the most part, under 6 foot tall. So, we've got to battle hard every single night.
Yeah, you mentioned Connor Marlatt. I remember back at that Winamac game, it seemed like you two have a really special relationship when it comes to player-coach. He looked at you on the floor a lot to get direction. It just seems like you have command of this team, and it seems like you have good respect with some of the guys.
Well, and, it's a thing where these kids are very competitive. On nights where we might be a little undermanned or disadvantaged, I know that I'm going to get a consistent effort out of them, and a lot of that comes down to Connor Marlatt's leadership and Jaden Miller's toughness, Brendan Grindstaff's ability to handle the ball, and then Bryce Nannenga's ability to play. And even in times where things have got away from us in game action, they still give me a focused effort. They're disciplined in their approach. And, I told them the other night, I said, I appreciate how hard they work. And that's something that you take long after the game of basketball, has served you into whatever job or whatever career that they choose later in life. So, what the lessons you learn from competition, hopefully one day translate into you being successful, as a professional, as a father, all those things.
You got a couple of home games here coming up to finish off your regular season, Rensselaer Central and then Lake Station. I assume that final home game will be senior night?
Yes. Lake Station will be our senior night where we'll honor our 3 seniors. Yeah,
talk about what they mean to your program.
Well, we've got Connor Marlatt. Everybody knows what he did on a football field, and he's one of our leaders on the basketball team. You got Austin Bolin. Austin's a kid that everyone likes to be around. He doesn't say a lot, but he's a hard worker. And then we look at Blake Hughes, and unfortunately for Blake, this was really his first season playing basketball, and he's battled with a knee injury off and on all year. So he's trying to play through that pain. He's an ultimate competitor. He dealt with a knee issue in football as well. And we tell those boys, that when you lead by example and you do things the right way, that's how you build a program. So for those 3 boys, we want to make sure that we try to send them out on a positive note with their last game on our floor against Lake Station.
Yeah, what's the first year been like for you at this point in time? You've gone through a whole season almost, Coach. How's the ride been for you personally?
Well, for me, I'm just happy to get back involved. I sat out a decade for a variety of reasons and then got back involved last year with the youth program. Felt that itch that I wanted to get back towards the top and was lucky enough that they named me the head coach here. So getting back on the sidelines is always fun. Building a bond with kids, that's what it's all about. I've enjoyed a lot of it. We've had a lot of adversity and things that maybe we can't control, but our kids are tough. They're resilient. And, they've worked hard, and we're going to make sure that we get this thing built and moving in the right direction.
Yeah, once the season's over, it's our favorite time of year. You know, sectionals around the corner. You've got the draw tomorrow on Sunday, Coach. Who knows what'll happen, but what is the goal right now in your mind for the postseason?
We just want to be competitive. You know, whatever that is, we want to make sure that we have a chance to compete and try to find a way that late in whatever game we play, that we can have a chance to try to figure out how we can get a win in sectional. You know, it's been a long time since West Central's done that. And we want to make sure that, you know, whether we play on a Tuesday or a Friday, you know, if we get the bye, we want to put a good effort on the floor for 32 minutes and have a chance to get a win.
You know, Coach, we talked with Kit Chezem from North Judson-San Pierre last week, and he's quite the table tennis player. Do you have any extracurricular activities or hobbies that you get into?
Not as much as I used to. I used to like to fish quite a bit, but I just don't have the time for it anymore. So if it's free time, I'm typically watching sports, or maybe I'm out in the garden. We do some gardening at our house. So, but you know, when you're a varsity basketball coach, it's hard to step away from it all. Basketball season isn't from October to the end of February anymore like it used to be. You've got weights in the spring, you've got basketball all summer, and then the fall you're allowed to work with the kids a couple hours a day, twice a week. So basketball just becomes all life encompassing.
You just love it.
That's the only way to approach it.
Well, Coach, as always, I appreciate your time this morning. Good luck the rest of the way against Rensselaer Central, Lake Station, and Pioneer. We'll be keeping in touch with you and have you back on the sports line, okay?
All right, thanks, Mitch.
All right, that is head coach of the West Central Trojans, Brad Odom, here on the Saturday Sports Line. We're going to take a break and come back. More sports talk coming your way. We're trying to get all 8 of our area high school boys basketball coaches on this Saturday Sports Line, so buckle up. Don't go anywhere. This is Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Since 1936, Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning have always taken pride in doing the job right. Third-generation owner Brian Hammond and his family have always set the standard when it comes to taking care of all your heating and cooling needs. Making your home a comfortable home is the absolute top priority. If you are uncomfortable in your home, give them a call at 574-936-4660. Follow them on Facebook. Let Standard Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning help you take control of your comfort. You're listening to Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI.
Back for more from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios. We are talking South Central Satellites boys basketball with head coach Matty Bush. Coach, good morning.
Morning.
Man, that was a lot of fun the other night against Culver, man. What a game it was. Of course, you guys were on the winning side of it, 67-61 on Thursday night. Let's start there. I mean, you kind of talked before we went on the air about free throws. You guys did a very good job at the free throw line. Just as a whole, your team was a lot of fun to watch, Coach.
Yeah, we were 26 of 33, and we hadn't shot that well in the previous season and early part of the season, but we really had improved. We shoot a ton of them. I have them go 30 at this basket, 30 at this basket, 30 at this basket, all the time, and it's really paid off. And that's how you close a basketball game. Got to make free throws, take care of the ball, make free throws, and we did it. But I couldn't believe how many we shot, but we were 13 to 14 in the fourth, and when you're trying to close a basketball game, that's what you have to do.
Well, one thing right off the bat, you could tell it's not just the starting five. You've got guys you can bring in off the bench, and they provide really good minutes. Talk about go ahead and talk about some of the starters, but also talk about some of those guys that come off the bench and are really providing for you right now.
Yeah. So, from a starter standpoint, we've really started the same lineup all year, aside from, there's been, always a little illness or injury or anything. And those guys have done a great job. And they're, I've talked before when I've been on here about defensive identity, and that starting five with Derek, Colin, Kevin, Braden, and Clayton, they bring the defense. They set the tone, start off the game. This is how it's going to be. We're going to defend. We're going to shut you down. And then off the bench, we have our sophomores who come in, and they bring some offensive pop, Jay and Noah and Jack. And they've really, really improved defensively. We give out the hustle chain every game after the game, and Jay he came in, known as a scorer. Maybe people think of him that way, and he comes in, gets 7 rebounds, 4 steals, 3 deflections, and that kind of contribution from an all-around game is just incredible. And then, like you said, Noah Howard comes in and gives us 14 points off the bench. And so that's how you want that kind of spread out contributions, because now it makes you harder to guard. So
you got some good lefties too. It's hard to guard a lefty. People don't really understand. They're coming at you a different way. It's different angles. If they're a shooter, man, you got to watch out. You got a couple lefties on this team, Coach.
I know. I always joke we're like a major league bullpen. We got we got a bunch of lefties coming on from the pen. So
I love it.
But yeah, it is. I played in college with a left-handed kid, and everybody always seemed surprised when they guarded him that he was left-handed. So I always think about that when our guys come in, like, well, maybe they'll be surprised that he's left-handed. So.
Yeah, and that's usually the case. But when we saw you last, just so you know, we gave Jay Huerta also on top of your what would you say it's called?
The hustle chain, yeah.
Which is, like you said, you got it from college football, where they would have the gold chain put around one of the defensive players' necks.
They do like a turnover chain. A lot of the teams, somebody gets an interception or a fumble, and then they go on the sideline and they get the turnover chain.
And they take their pictures. But it gets the kids excited about something and working hard towards something. We also named Jay our Ashley Derrickson 5-star player of the game. So you're right. Jay Huerta just really stepping up for you guys. And quite honestly, he's grown a lot since the last time I saw him in the fall. So he's getting taller. And honestly, we've talked about this. When you look around our area teams, there's some tall guys here and there, but you've got a really good spread you've got several guys that are above 6 foot on your team.
Yeah, we've got some height and length. And the key is learning to use it well. We put a lot of time in the weight room, get stronger, get better conditioned. And I think that's more important even than having a little bit of height, is that we've gotten stronger. Our guys bought in this summer and in the fall of getting in the weight room, conditioning. And you see it pay off when we play in physical games like the other night, where that was a physical basketball game.
Yeah.
I mean, Culver plays really hard, and they test you, trying to take the ball from you, be physical, and they test the refs sometimes too to see if they'll call them all. But if they don't, that's hey, if you put pressure on everybody when you do that, and then it's paid off for them a bunch. It's just something you have to be able to handle, and I thought our guys did a good job of handling it.
Braden Lautenbach on the inside, I mean, he is like the anchor for you guys. He throws his body, he uses his body well. He throws his weight around, and tonight, going up against the Knox Redskins, he's going to be up against Caleb Schwant. That's going to be a battle on the inside. What do you know about the Knox Redskins?
I know that they play really hard, which is something everybody around here for the most part plays really hard, but they especially do. They're a really good defensive team, watching them. So it's going to be another similar game in my eyes. We're going to have to handle their physicality. They're strong. I mean, they have a really good football team, and a lot of those guys play basketball as well, and they bring that type of physicality and rebounding. So
I got you to come to Knox twice in one day, Coach.
I was just getting ready to ask. Are you just going to hang around town here until game time, or are you going back home? What's the deal? You just going to frequent some restaurants here in town? What's going on?
Like I told Mitch before, I'm a podcast listener, so I got some podcasts. I'll get back on the road and listen to some of those. So.
What do you do for fun, Coach? I know you love basketball and you love coaching, but what's a hobby of yours you do on the side? We want to learn a little about you.
I'm a big golfer. I love golf. Yeah, I actually tried to start a website where I rated golf courses for a little while.
Very
but then I
cool.
decided to get back into coaching. But yeah, I love to golf. I try to travel around and play a bunch of new cool places. So
You don't want to go golfing with me. I'm terrible. I went golfing one time. I think I've told you this story before. I was with Tony Ross. He's on Max 98.3, our other station. And he took me, what's the golf course over at North Judson?
Chesapeake.
Chesapeake. Yeah, we were at Chesapeake Bay. Is that what it? Chesapeake Bay?
Run.
Chesapeake Run. Chesapeake Run. See, you know it. So anyway, I think we were on the second hole. And, of course, I couldn't get the ball off the tee on the first hole, and they just had me, follow them. And I remember Tony saying, you just got to focus. You got to swing hard. Swing real hard, focus, and eye on the ball. Well, my eye was on the ball. I focused, and I swung hard. The club went about 40 yards. You heard it sounded like a helicopter. The ball didn't go anywhere. So that was my note. I was like, okay, I don't know if I can golf. But that's interesting. My dad always told me, he's never been a sports guy, but the one thing he said, golf you can play for your whole life. And I go, why don't you play, Dad? Well, you don't do as I say, do as I do. Well, Coach, you come tonight, the Knox Redskins. What else have you learned about them? Anything? What are you expecting to see from them on the defensive end?
They pressure the ball really well. So one of the things to talk about in the Culver game and now here is we have to handle pressure. We have to be able to take care of the basketball and handle their pressure. Again, they play really hard on the defensive end. They're going to pressure the ball. They'll pick us up full court, I think. And so that's priority one for us. I do give our guys scouting reports, and we do keys to win, and limit turnovers is number one every single game we play. Because I always tell our guys it's a two-headed monster here. We're looking where we don't get a shot at the basket, and then we're giving them an easy possession on the other side. So turnovers are just the absolute key to everything. We cannot turn the ball over, so that's what we'll be trying to do.
I think tonight for you guys, the important thing is going to be, knowing Knox coming off that tough loss last night. I think everybody was shocked to see that score. I usually say the first 3 minutes of the second half are the most important of any basketball game. I think tonight for you guys, I think maybe the first 3 minutes of the game coming out and matching their intensity. Because they're going to come out hungry after that loss last night, after that tough loss. So I think the first 3 minutes, how you guys start the game, could be just as important as the 3 minutes starting the second half.
Yeah, I totally agree. We have spent a lot of time talking about handling wins and losses and how to handle that. And I'm really big on, I'm not a Duke fan, but I've always respected Coach K, and one of the things his players always talk about is like the Duke way, where it doesn't matter the score, it doesn't matter what the situation is, we play the same way all the time. And I've been really trying to instill that in our guys. Like, it doesn't matter what the score is. So, starting off the game, we have to be ready to go. I mean, there can't be we'll ease into this one. Like you're saying, it has to be right from the tip. We have to be focused. We have to be ready to play hard. We have to be ready to handle. Like you said, they're going to be mad. They're going to be focused in. So
I've always told my teams, anytime we play on the road, that scoreboard to start the game doesn't start 0-0. You got a vision. You're down 12. It's 0-12. You are down 12 to start that game. You got to come out with that intensity, especially on the road, because there's so many things to overcome: the home court advantage, officiating, free throw differential, all that kind of stuff. So again, that's the mentality that my teams take in. I don't know if you have anything like that you share with your kids, but anytime we play on the road, it's that extra mindset that we have to be ready to play.
We've played on the road a lot this year. Our schedule, just how it shook out, is we've been on the road quite a bit. And like I talked about after the Culver game, we've been in these situations recently. Washington Township, we had a big lead, almost got away from us. Argos, we had an 8-point lead late, we let it get away from us. And then the Culver game, we were able to hold on to it and hold the game and finish it.
Yeah, growth.
And so taking those lessons, again, I talked about it after the Culver game, taking those lessons in wins is way better than learning those lessons in losses. So I'm hoping that we're able to take those lessons from being in tough situations and then take it into what'll be another tough situation on the road at Knox, road game, tough environment. And I'm hoping that those lessons we've learned in these recent games our guys are ready for that.
Right.
So
yeah, opportunity to get to 500 tonight, and then you finish off the season at home, a conference game at Westville, and then sectionals. Of course, the draw's tomorrow. You guys watching the draw?
We are.
Well, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yep, we're excited for it. We're going to get the team together, and a little bit of, I guess it's not quite March yet, but a little bit of March Madness.
Yeah, we're getting there. I feel it, don't you? It feels good, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's like Christmas time.
Oh, it's the best time of year. This is the best time of year. So
this is why you play.
Yep.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. I'm very excited about tonight's matchup, and we'll talk to you later on this evening.
Sounds good. See you then.
All right, that is head coach of the South Central Satellites, Matty Bush, here on the Saturday Sports Line. 7 down, 1 to go. We're going to have head coach Rick Snodgrass of the Tri-Township Tigers on the line next. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the Saturday Sports Line.
The mountain is high, the valley is low, and you're confused on which way to go. So I've come here to give you a hand and lead.
Back out to the near corner. Kevin Higley skip past to Jay Huerta up top, going inside, has space, back out. Noah Howard, 3 on the way. Wow. Yes, sir. Noah Howard. Big time shot. 55-48.
That's his second 3 of this half.
The Stark County Co-op has been a member-owned farm services co-op in Stark County since 1928. That's over 90 years, and they're still providing the same quality agronomy services to the farming community of Stark and surrounding counties. The Stark County Co-op is an LP and fuel provider. The Stark County Co-op purchases grain at both locations, Hamlet and Brems. You can reach them by phone at 1-800-782-3392.
It's hard to believe, but time sure does fly by. Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox are celebrating over 30 years of taking care of all of your insurance needs in our communities.
If I could turn back time.
And we're not going anywhere.
Stop in and see Jim and the crew at Collins Insurance Agency in downtown Knox.
Insurance you can count on from a business you've trusted since 1989.
Proud presidential partners of Western Reserve.
Listen for more insight in local high school sports on the Saturday Sports Line. Here's your sports director, Mitch Columbi.
Strauss steps into it. Head coach Matty Bush looking on. No good. Rebounded by Jack Rogers. Jack pushes it forward to Adria Guath. Adria pops the 3. Yes, sir. Count it. Timeout by head coach Kyle Evans. It stops the clock at 14.6 seconds. 63-57. A 6-point ball game now.
Back from the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios, this is the Saturday Sports Line. We are transitioning to talk to our 8th and final head coach for our boys basketball teams. Yeah, we cover 8 schools in this area. It's kind of crazy, but we're making it happen this morning on the Saturday Sports Line. We've got head coach of the Tri-Township Tigers, Rick Snodgrass, on the line. Good morning, Coach. How's it going?
Good morning, Mitch. We appreciate having me on.
No, absolutely, Coach. I know it's been a tough few games here for you. A tough loss last night on the road against DeMott Christian, but there's been some highlights throughout this season. Of course, we talked to you earlier throughout the year. You had crossed your 400th career win as a head coach in Indiana. That's pretty special, Coach. But all in all, I know you've just been fighting through this, Coach. Overall, tell us what's going on from your perspective.
Well, it's. We suffered a big loss when Carter Wilkie got hurt. I don't think anybody realized how he was a glue to our team a little bit. And, he was a 4-year player for us, 3-year starter for me. And he, started some of his freshman season. And he just did the little things. He was our captain. He controlled our defense, what we wanted to do defensively, and he used one and took the ball out of bounds, and just he did the little things, hit the key shots when he needed a 3 or an inside player. So you just don't lose a player of that caliber at our size school and not be affected by it. And we've we struggle with fundamentals. We're just not very strong with the ball. We have a bunch of seniors playing, but in reality, they didn't have most of them did not have a lot of playing time at the varsity level, and they've had to adjust to different roles, and teams are just they're taking advantage of us doing a lot of unforced errors, and when we can put spurts together, Mitch, we can put a quarter together that we looked really good. We can put a half together that we looked really good, but we've really struggled putting a full game together, and we're just continuing to try to work as hard as we can, and I told them to play as hard as they can, and that's life. The bottom line through sports is you have a diversity, and how you handle adversity is how you're going to handle life's adversity in the future, and you got two ways to do it. You either keep fighting, try to get better, to try to work your rear end off and compete, or you go in a shell and you don't compete. And I'm not the type of person that allows you to go in that shell, and I'm not going to allow them to do that. And that's what I'm pushing as hard as I ever have as a coach, and we're going to continue to battle, and we got a big ball game tonight.
All right, it's not very often you get to ask your boss questions, so I'm going to try to be nice here, Coach. You talk about handling the basketball, and tonight against this Culver Cavalier basketball team that's coming into the Tiger Den, they are very aggressive defensively, and they are not afraid to foul. So is that your biggest concern going into tonight?
Well, yeah, Chris, it is. I've been watching film this morning on them, and I already knew it. They're a football school. They're big. They're strong. They play very aggressive. They don't care if they foul. Talking to Matty Bush from the other night, he said that they shot 33 free throws, and he felt like they should have shot 50 or 60. He said, but the officials aren't going to call everything, and,
right?
And that's how they play, and you have to adjust. So tonight, last night, DeMont Christian was the same way. They were very physical, and we just got to get stronger with the ball, and unfortunately, being a senior-dominated team as far as the amount of seniors playing and the fact that their fundamentals, it's just they've gotten better, but it's just one of those things that you're not going to change much, with a senior team. I just keep telling them, play one possession at a time. And last night was a perfect example. We had the ball 58 possessions. We scored 25 possessions, and the rest we made errors or gave the ball to them. We made 25 errors, and we shot 9 for 20 from the free throw line. And you can't do that. You just can't do it at the varsity level and survive. Now, the positive is we were down 18 the first half last night, battled back, down 6 at the halftime, and it was one of our best quarters we played all year. And that's what I want to build on. I just, I want to keep, you play to the end. And I told them the beauty behind the next two games is they still get to play. I get to coach. And I said, I think some people take advantage of that. They don't understand how important that is. And I treasure it every time I'm coaching, and I want the kids to treasure it. And on top of that, once the sectional draw happens tomorrow, you can't control it, whoever you play. But when you go in the tournament, you're 0-0, no matter what, and that's how you got to continue to work that way.
Yeah, you've got Culver tonight, and then you're going to wrap things up. You get the last two games at home in the Tiger Den. Your last game's a conference game against Couts, and then of course sectionals. You guys going to get together and watch the draw, or are you preparing for the draw at all tomorrow?
No, I prepare for the draw from the standpoint of the last 3 or 4 games of the season. I try to play the type of game plan I will in a section as far as rotations and things like that as much as possible. No, I've always for 40 years now, I take my wife out and we go to a movie on the draw day.
Nice.
And I've kept it that way, and I've enjoyed it, and I think the kids get a chance to watch it on their own if they want to, and then we'll start preparing for sectional starting probably Tuesday through, also preparing for a big conference game with Counts and senior night.
Well, I'll make sure I send you a text tomorrow then once the draw comes out, Coach.
Yeah, well, my kids, they have pretty well know our routine, and they know it, and they'll text Teresa, but she won't tell me until after we get outside, and it's just something I've always done, and so it's kind of been our thing to do, and I think that's important.
Well, Coach, we know this is definitely not your first rodeo, and with the year it's been, what's something positive you've taken away through this time?
Well, I think the positive is that I get to do what I love still, and even I can appreciate the game much different than I could have 40 years ago. Yes, you want to win, you prepare to win. But you also have to face reality sometimes, and sometimes you're getting beat by better teams. Sometimes there's just too many variations of it, and as long as I'm enjoying it, and I making an impact, and I think that the kids last night was a perfect example. Is they played really hard last night, and if we continue to do that, that's the only thing you can ask of your kids right now is that if they give the effort and they play hard, and I think sometimes that's I think people lose sight of that sometimes, and especially our size of school, it's we're always going to be playing bigger schools, and you just want to teach them the true meaning of life, and so win, lose, draw, you have to handle adversity, and you have to show up and be your best at all times and give the effort, and that's the things you learn through sports.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time this morning. It means a lot, and good luck tonight against Culver. We'll see what happens.
Yep, we'll be ready to go, and glad that we get to play our last two games in the Tiger Den. It's always an experience, and we'll see what happens. And you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
You as well, Coach. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
All right, that is head coach Rick Snodgrass of the Tri-Township Tigers here on the Saturday Sports Line. Well, we did it. That's all 8.
All 8?
That's all 8, baby. We are going to the Where Are They Now segment. Hey, we're going into overtime, obviously. Where Are They Now segment is up next. You know him well, Harold Welter, coming your way.
So to start the fourth quarter, the Cavs will have possession stolen by. It's Derek Welsh. Right-hand layup goes through right off the bat to start the fourth. On the other end of the floor, it's Jack Rogers spinning around at the free throw line. Back out to David Height for 3. Splash. Big time shot for David Height. 13-10 now. The Cavs are on a run. So to start the fourth quarter, the Cavs will have possession stolen by. It's Derek Welsh. Right-hand layup goes through right off the bat to start the fourth. Stroud trying to beat the full court pressure. They do to Jack Cashel, then to Jay Huerta for 3. He matched it on the next play. They're feeling themselves tonight.
Stay tuned for more sports talk with Mitch Columbi and Chris McGowan on the longest running high school sports show in Indiana, the Saturday Sports Line.
It's time now for Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of local high school sports coverage on Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI. Today's program is brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox. Now let's meet one of the local high school sports figures from more than 50 years of WKVI sports and find out where are they now?
Well, as we look back on more than 50 years of broadcasting high school sports in the Kankakee Valley here on WKVI, our guest is Ken Peterson, a 1989 graduate of New Prairie High School. Now, New Prairie's a little out of our range from the schools that we normally cover, but Ken is very familiar with our local Kankakee Valley areas. He has spent a lot of years writing for the LaPorte Herald Argus and other publications, and now he's still involved in high school sports. And Ken, tell me, we say this is Where Are You Now? So where are you now, and what are you doing?
Well, right now, Harold, I'm working here in South Bend for a property development company. It's my full-time job. My other gig is I'm a partner in broadcastsport.net, and we do a lot of high school sports around the South Bend area. I'm the play-by-play voice of New Prairie football on Friday nights, and for those that love high school basketball, I have officially taken over the etpearl.com website after the passing of Earl Mishler.
And I want to talk a little bit about that because Earl Mishler was certainly an icon in covering high school sports for many, many years as a writer for the South Bend Tribune, and then he started the etpearl.com where you can find out so much about area teams and the history of those teams. And he did a lot of groundwork, and I know you helped him on that. Tell us about etpearl.com.
Well, what it actually was it actually started back in his home. I met Earl about 32 years ago, and he invited me down to his home in Culver. We lived in a trailer in Culver, and he kept all of his records in filing cabinets there. And so all the stuff that you see on the E.T. Pearl website is stuff that he had kept over the years, the meticulous notes and scoring records that he kept over the years through that. But Earl's love for high school sports was just incredible. I mean, going to a game with him was like going with a rock star. He lived about 7-8 miles east of me, near the South Bend Country Club. So after he got out of it and retired, I would take him to basketball games. So we dubbed it the World Tour. And so everywhere you went with Earl, you felt like you were the Ed McMahon to his Johnny Carson, because everybody wanted to see Earl. And one night we were at a basketball game at Bremen, and they had a long couch at the end of the floor. So he's in his wheelchair, and I'm sitting next to him, and people start coming over. And so one by one they start coming over, and I keep moving down the couch. And at the end of the night, I thought to myself, God, I'm Ed McMahon in this operation here. But Earl's love for high school sports, I mean, he loved it so much. I mean, he started out at the Culver Citizen when he was a youngster. Right. Writing the Culver basketball games, and it just kind of progressed from there. But we kind of talked the last few years of his life about me possibly taking it over, and I just said to him, I said, I have no problem doing it, but I've said it will always say etpearl.com. It will never change to anything else. I've always said if I could be like the Wizard in The Wizard of Oz, where they don't pull the curtain back and I stay behind the curtain, life is good. Life is good.
And I would suspect that that's pretty time-consuming for you to catch up on all of those things and bring all of the E.T. Pearl stuff up to date.
Yeah, it's been a challenge, Harold. It really has been, because last year he was in hospice at this time, and before he went to hospice, he was staying at a nursing home north of South Bend, and he just says to me one day, he goes, "It's yours," and I'm in the middle of covering a state football run up here, and I'm just like, oh my goodness. And so we didn't get all the stuff for last year. Now this year it's been a lot better. We've gotten a lot more, and people, I think, are starting to realize, that the site will continue. That's the one thing I promised him, is that we're going to do everything humanly possible to keep it going, because I knew it was big when people would log on to it. But now to see how it was after he died, and there was one gentleman who asked me if the website was for sale. It's like, no, it's not for sale. And there were people who were wondering if it would keep going. And I told Earl that we're going to do everything, like I said, we're going to do everything we can to keep it going. And it made me realize how big of a deal it was that he did all of that for all those years.
Well, I'll tell you what, E.T. Pearl was responsible for much of my pregame shows in the last 25 years.
A lot of guys, actually, a lot of media guys. And there have been a lot of media guys who've been really tremendous. The Plymouth Pilot News has been incredible helping us. Val down in Rochester, he's been great. A dear friend of both of ours, Keith Noost over in Porter County. I don't think I could have done the Porter County stuff this year without Keith's help. He's been just absolutely amazing.
Right.
He's the Earl Mishler, I say, of Porter County, because the guy has unbelievable stats. He also does a lot of LaPorte County stuff, too. So he's been a big help in the website.
Well, Ken and I first got to know each other as he was covering the old sectional tournaments in the one-class system, and we ran into each other at North Judson a number of times. And you watched a lot of ball games over the years. Going back, what's the one that stands out in your mind more than any other, Ken?
From that North Judson sectional days, I would have to say the year lacrosse won it, when they beat North Judson in the final. And if you remember in that game, it was late in the game, North Judson made a field goal, tied the game. As soon as the ball went in the basket, the lights went out.
Yes.
And it killed the momentum that Judson had. And I remember, I think Bill Berger made a comment at one point when the lights were barely coming back on, something to the effect of, well, we could play in this. This is just like at the Tiger Den. If you remember back when the Tiger Den lights were really kind of dim. But that team that he had that year, that was a very, very special team. And really what came out of that, Harold, more than just a game, was I had the opportunity to meet Dwayne Lewandowski from the South Bend Tribune. And Dwayne and Matt Copsey and Bob Oppenheim, the three of us still get together every Wednesday night at a local sports bar to talk high school sports and some other things that people will say, interesting that they're talking about that tonight, kind of thing. But through that North Judson sectional came the start of a friendship with Dwayne and Matt and Bob that's continued over the last 30 years.
Who are some of the most memorable coaches that you've worked with and around over the years?
Harold, that is a very good question. I can share several. One that stands out to me is Bill Berger and the job he did at lacrosse, and when he went on to Westville. And, the one-class tournament, when he had those kids in the late 80s and early 90s. And I still maintain that had there been class basketball back when Ketchmark and that group was there, that team could have won a state title. They were that good. And they were essentially one or two players away. If he had two more players on his bench, I think they beat LaPorte in that regional game. And I think the job he did there at lacrosse was amazing. Gordon Mawson, obviously, the job he did at Glenn all those years. And, of course, Travis Hanna winning a state title at OD. And, of course, winning a regional last year at John Glenn. He was another one that I think really stands out. And, of course, Terry Minix, the great job he did down at Oregon Davis. And, it's funny you're talking about people. I had a chance to run into Ryan Bales a couple weeks ago at the Northridge Sectional. We started talking about that great team that he was on.
95.
And I covered the 95 team, yes.
Yeah.
And I covered the last Michigan City-Elston game in their history against North Judson. And that was the night that North Judson went into Michigan City and just absolutely wiped the floor with Elston. And I remember that game simply because of the emotion that Michigan City coach Dan Stanky felt after the game, knowing that was the end of the Elston tradition. But there've been a lot of really great coaches of the Kankakee Valley area that I've been fortunate enough to cover over the years, and it's been a special time, that's for sure.
Our guest is Ken Peterson, a 1989 graduate of New Prairie High School, and a guy who has been covering high school sports media-wise from the old days of the print media to the highly technological level that we're at now. And we're going to continue our conversation after we pause for this time up.
Need a game plan that has your day covered from tip-off to the buzzer? Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox has you covered. Whether you like to start out with a caffeinated full-court press or control the tempo with a Subway breakfast flatbread, Osborne's Mini Mart has what you need. Don't get trapped in the corner with an empty stomach. Call a quick timeout and get 2 hot dogs. Visit Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox at the corner of US 35 and Highway 8 East to guarantee you win the day.
Our guest is Ken Peterson, a 1989 graduate of New Prairie High School who has taken over and is going to continue the E.T. Pearl website that has so much information about high school basketball, both boys and girls, going back for decades. And you've been around, as we were talking before the break there, Ken, you've been around a long time watching high school sports and some of the great athletes and some of the great coaches. In your opinion, what is the biggest asset of kids playing high school sports?
I think it's a lot about learning how to work together as a team, learning how to put together a team success with varying personalities, because, and you've seen it over the years, teams that win championships, they may not all share the same thoughts and the same feelings, but once they get on the basketball floor or the softball field or football, whatever sport it is, they want to win, and they put that aside to try to win championships. And I think that's the big thing, is working together with people, learning life skills, and understanding teamwork and working to reach a common goal.
High school sports is different than it used to be for a lot of reasons. What advice would you give young athletes who want to have success in today's high school sports world?
I think play as many sports as possible, because I think too often we have, in some places, specialization, which I think really hurts high school athletics. You've got to be able, I think, if you're going to be successful, you look at the kids that are successful in most cases. You have 3 sport athletes. If you're playing football, basketball, and baseball, you're being coached differently by 3 different head coaches. I mean, one coach may coach you a certain way in this sport, and then in the other sports, they may coach you differently. And it's about taking direction from different people and different voices versus hearing the same voice over and over again. And I think playing multiple sports gives kids an opportunity to develop a lot of things in terms of motor skills, in terms of using other things besides, dribbling a basketball or throwing a football or spending time in a weight room. Because all the sports, I think, tie together, because football and wrestling and track, you think about it, if you're an offensive lineman, in football season, you want to be out there, obviously, having the edge on offense. And then in wrestling, you could develop different skills, along with in track, we could throw the shot and the discus, which all combines into, the same thing.
I think of someone like Riley Popplewell, who was a 4-sport athlete at South Central and ended up playing professional basketball in Europe.
Yes. She's a great example. I mean, she really is. And I have to share the one story that always stands out about the state tournament was the year that Oregon Davis won the boys state basketball championship. And we're down in Lafayette at the Crawley Center, and Lafayette Central Catholic is there, and they're playing OD.
Yep.
And the one thing I remember about that day, Harold, is I sit in press row and I look to my left, and there's a whole contingent of Central Catholic fans there. And if I'm not mistaken, Frank Kendrick's son, former Purdue assistant, Frank Kendrick's son, was playing on Central Catholic. And I think there was this perception going down there that OD was just going to be another team on the way to Central Catholic winning a state title. And I mentioned to somebody before the game, I said, whoever wins this game is going to win the state championship. And as the game's going on and and it gets into the fourth quarter and OD starts making its run and ultimately winning, I turned to my left at the end of that game, and I looked over at the Lafayette Central Catholic fans who were all excited about playing the game, were just standing in stunned disbelief watching the boys from Stark County come to their backyard and win a semi-state game. And the look on their faces of just disbelief was the one thing I'll always remember about that game.
You know what I remember about that game is when Oregon Davis was up by 1 or 2 points with less than a minute to go, and Adam Flushop puts up a 3. And
oh my yes!
Swisher, remember that? And
here's the one thing I remember about that. When he shot that ball from the corner, I just was like, no, screaming, no, and the sucker goes in, and it's like, wow.
Great shot.
Nice shot. Now, one of those that win a game.
Now it's a 2-possession game with less than a minute to go, and they go on to win it. So
yeah, and really though, that was really, I think, one of the more memorable moments of covering, because you knew the next week they were going to win the championship. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion. That was one of the great moments, I think, in the history of basketball in Stark County, OD winning a state title.
No question about that. And for them to win those back-to-back state titles, the girls and the boys, 3 weeks apart, that's certainly one of the biggest highlights I had in 57 years of broadcasting sports, no question.
Well, and it was so great for that community, Harold, because, they've always been, Oregon Davis has always been a solid basketball community. In fact, I go back to when I was in high school. We played against Scott Bloom and Rick Budka, those great OD teams. So we knew how great the basketball tradition is down there.
No question, and we could have another program just on big plays. We'll do that sometime. How's that, Ken?
Yes, sounds good.
Ken, thanks so much for joining us. Our guest here on our Where Are They Now segment has been Ken Peterson, a 1989 graduate of New Prairie High School. Join us again next week here on the Saturday Sports Line for Where Are They Now?
Where Are They Now? A look back at more than a half century of high school sports coverage on WKVI has been brought to you by Osborne's Mini Mart in Knox.
Join us each Saturday morning on WKVI for the Saturday Sports Line and worldwide on WKVI.com.
Time now for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week, given in memory of Tyler Roth, a 2001 graduate of Winamac High School who died in an auto accident 1 week after his high school graduation. His legacy of hard work, outstanding citizenship, artistic success, and super athletic performance lives on with this award given every week to outstanding student athletes from the 8 schools in the Kankakee Valley. Today's award is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac, and we'll tell you who's earned the Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week after this word from Web Printing.
Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack and signs of all kinds in Winamac is where all of your printing needs can be met. Whether it's paper, garments, or signs, Web Printing is your full-service printing solution. So if you're in need of embroidered or screen-printed garments, tickets or programs for your event, or documents for your business, Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack is the place to go. For the quickest service, best prices, and best quality, it's Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac.
Our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week for this week is Bryce Nannenga, a member of the basketball team at West Central High School. Bryce is having an amazing season for the Trojans. He led them to a 64-57 win over Tri-Township last week. He dominated on the offensive end of the floor, hitting 9 of 11 field goals en route to a 20-point performance. He's currently averaging 19 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 2.5 steals, 2 assists, and 2 blocks per game. In the last 5 games, Bryce had the following stats: 23.8 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, 2.5 blocks per game, and 2.2 steals per game. Quite an impressive run. Bryce is currently number 8 on the boys' all-team scoring list and has a chance of hitting the 1,000-point mark this season. Bryce is the son of Christina and David Nannenga. As we congratulate Bryce Nannenga of West Central High School our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week. Bryce will receive a certificate, a history of the award, and a t-shirt commemorating his achievement, and will also be a future guest on the Saturday Sports Line. He will be eligible for our Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Year award later this spring, which carries with it a plaque and a college scholarship, compliments of WKVI and the family of Tyler Roth. The Tyler Roth WKVI Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Web Printing and JT Shirt Shack in Winamac. I'll make sure to get with Mr. Nannenga this week, as that is going to wrap up another Saturday Sports Line for us. But hey, stay tuned tonight from Harold Weinberg Gymnasium. We will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central to see the Knox Redskins host the South Central Satellites for Knox's Senior Night. Terry Minix and Justin Ruff will be on the call with me. We hope you join us then. Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well. I'm Mitch Columby. The tradition continues.
From the Pulaski Memorial Hospital studios of Kankakee Valley Broadcasting's WKVI, you've been listening to the Saturday Sports Line with Sports Director Mitch Columby and Sports Analyst Chris McGowan.